Mi365 Podcasts with me, Pete Cohen. Hi, it's Pete Cohen here, and welcome to another Mi365 podcast. Now, before we start, head over to mi365.me and find out how you can get 365 days of free life coaching. Now, my guest today is the brilliant Katie Bulmer-Cooke. Katie was on The Apprentice. She did extremely well. I think she got to the 10th episode. She's a fitness professional. She's an entrepreneur. She's a hard-working mother, and she is amazing. Her story is brilliant. I'm sure you're going to be inspired. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi, it's Pete Cohen. You join me for another podcast. Now, I'm so excited that my guest today is the amazing Katie Bulmer-Cooke. Now, I first came across Katie, like many people did, when they saw her on The Apprentice, but there's much more to this amazing lady. She's an incredibly hardworking mum. She's an entrepreneur. She's a fitness trainer. She's won many awards, Young Businesswoman of the Year 2012, loads of personal training awards, just an all-round, an amazing lady. Katie, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Pete. Thanks for having us on the podcast.
Well, it's always great to have people on the podcast who are just happy to help people. So tell me, Katie, what it is that you're really passionate about.
Oh gosh, lots of things. And I know people say traditionally in business, you should have one area of specialism and you should stick to that and only do. But for me, I like all kinds of things to do with fitness. So I love helping people. I love working with my PT clients. I work predominantly with busy women and pre and postnatal women. I love doing group PT. I love delivering education to fellow fitness professionals, whether that be to do with the technicalities of training or whether that be business related. I love the television work I do. I think all round I just really enjoy every day of my job because every day is different.
Wow. So it's interesting to kind of know where to start. I mean, let's start off with The Apprentice. I know that's where obviously a lot of people, it's like me with GMTV, that's where a lot of people know me for. I know there's probably a lot more to you than just being on The Apprentice, but just talk to us about that. How did you actually get on the program in the first place?
Well, for a couple of years, a few of my clients had been saying, Katie, you should apply for The Apprentice. Every year that was on, Katie, you should give that a try. You should give it a go. And probably for the first couple of times people mentioned it, I never really took much notice. And then one of my clients went a step further and actually sent us the link to apply. So I thought, well, give it a go, just fill it in, see what happens. It would be amazing too. I had what I felt was a good idea for a business. So filled it in and never thought anything else of it because the cut-off date was months in advance. So I just left it. And then after a little while, I got an email, would you come for this audition? And went for the audition. Got through that first round and again came away and rang me mum on the way home from the Manchester audition and said, I don't think that's really me, mum. I said, I don't think I'm like cutthroat enough. I'm not sure. And then they kept asking us back and asking us back. And every time I left an audition, I just kept ringing my mum going, I'll not have got through that. I don't think I'm the sort of person they're looking for. And then one day I was shopping with Heidi in Sainsbury's. And I got a phone call saying Katie would like to be on the show, and I dropped me shopping all over the aisle.
Wow.
Because I was just shocked. I didn't think that I was going to be the right sort of person. Like when I'd watched it in previous years, it was full of people who were very, very self-confident. And I am confident, but more quietly confident. I'm not a bragger or anything. So I wasn't the typical apprentice candidate, so I was very surprised when I got on.
Yeah, well, I don't watch too many programs on television, but I must admit I do like The Apprentice, and I also used to watch the American Apprentice as well with Donald Trump, the next president of the United States of America. So tell me, so you'd been watching it before, right? You'd seen the program before.
Oh yeah, I'd watched it for quite a few years. I paid more attention to it when the winner was going to go into business with Lord Sugar as opposed to have a job within his company. When it became more of an entrepreneurial thing, I definitely paid more attention to it. But yeah, I was a big fan of the show.
So tell me, at what point did you kind of get into it and realize, okay, I'm really in this, and this is much bigger than I thought it was going to be?
And probably by the time it was too late. The first day that you go there and you meet the other candidates for the first time, I remember just in my head, what have you done? What have you done? You had to go around and introduce yourself to each other, and everybody had these amazing elevator pitches of, talking about themselves, how great they were, what they do, and they came to me, and I was just like, "Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Katie. I'm from Sunderland." To which at least 3 people replied, "What did you say?"
Yeah.
Nobody could understand my accent, and I did feel like a massive fish out of water. But as time went on, I started to realise that actually the people that had the most to say, or used the most jargon or the most flowery language, or who shouted the loudest, weren't always the people with the most substance. And as I got to know people further down the line, they became a lot less intimidating to us than they were at the start.
And was there a point where you thought, you know what, I could actually win this?
Yes, there was. From about the end of week 7, week 8 onwards, I thought, you've as good a chance as anyone. Like, rather than do yourself down and rank yourself lower than anyone else, start thinking to myself, okay, you've got as good a chance as anyone at winning this. Towards the back end of the show, you are left with the people who've got real credibility and true business skills, and I thought I could have done it. And I was bitterly disappointed when I left the show, so close to the end as well. But on reflection, although I didn't win the big prize, I think I won in lots of other ways. I learned an awful lot about myself, and learned some really good skills that I definitely took and implemented into my business, and had a really good experience and had lots of opportunity on the back of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what were some of your biggest learnings then?
I think, when you're a fitness professional, and most of us work on our own, we'll have our own businesses, and we're either sole traders, or even if we're a limited company, we are the face of our business. So we're not usually in a team, so you don't always have people to compare yourself to. So you don't know really what you're good at. You don't know if you're the best salesperson, the best marketeer, the best customer service, the best team leader, all of those things. You just don't know because you've got no one to compare to. So for me, the biggest learning curve from that experience was finding out what I was actually good at. I learned that I was good in sales. I learned that I was a good leader and a good team player. But had I not gone through that process, had someone asked us what my skills were in business or my strengths, I definitely wouldn't have been able to tell you.
Yeah, it seems like that old adage of you've got to get out of your comfort zone to kind of learn things, and you obviously got massively out of your comfort zone and got yourself up in front of millions of people. But I think, I don't know whether you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, which was written in 1937. Napoleon Hill, he interviewed 500 of the most successful people of the early part of last century, people like Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and he said that the era of the go-getter has gone. It's the era of the go-giver. What can I give you? How can I help you? How can I serve you? And did you kind of see that some people that were in The Apprentice were people who really did want to kind of genuinely help people and change the world, and then there was maybe another group that were more self-centered and it was all about them?
Oh goodness, yes. And there was certainly more people that thought it was all about them.
Yeah.
The ratio would certainly be about probably 70-30 in favour of those that was about them. And I think with the process of The Apprentice, what you've got to learn very quickly is that although you are all fighting against each other for the same prize, and you are all our competitors, in order to progress through the process, you have to be good as a team.
Yeah.
You won't get anywhere if you're not a good team player. And I think the people that made it, to the back end of the show definitely appreciated that. And of course you've got to, when it comes to the boardroom, if you're on the losing team, of course you've got to throw each other under the bus and you've got to fight your corner. But, to get as far as possible, you have to be a good team player.
Yeah, well, I know a number of people, and I've read lots of different things about you, and many people who work with you in the different groups that you run and all over the place, and helping people get healthy and have more vitality and lose weight and feel great. They really warm to you because you are very genuine and you really do want to help people. And I'm sure, how much would you advocate your success to kind of having that attitude of wanting to help others?
Well, first of all, thanks, Pete. That's a nice thing to say. I just think that you've got to see, in a fitness business, especially in the sort of industry that we're in, got to see people and not down signs. Like, if you just look after people, if you give them a good service, if you help them get good results, if you're very, you're friendly with people, and just what my mum's always said to me, she always said, treat people as you would like to be treated yourself. Yeah. Then so the other sort of success comes with it, like the business growth and all that sort of stuff. But just treating people how you'd like to be treated yourself.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. So what about any other kind of principles that you live and work by? I mean, for me, my mum always says there's an answer to everything. Well, actually, she says to me, you've got an answer for everything. And my dad always says it's not what you know, it's who you know. So it's always about looking to get to know people, add value to people's lives. As far as business is concerned, because I know we'll have a lot of people listening to this who, maybe they're already in business, they're looking to start a business. So one of the best bits of advice that you would give is, treat people the way you would like to be treated. What else, other bits of advice would you give people in terms of running a successful business?
Well, that would definitely be number one. Treat people as you would like to be treated. This is going to sound like, the only person I ever listened to was my mum, but she does really wise. So she's always said, as one door closes, another door opens, so never give up.
Yeah.
And she has always been right. Like, if something hasn't gone my way, and I'll tell her about it, she said, well, it doesn't matter because that wasn't meant for you, and something else will come along. And she is always right. I think getting outside your comfort zone is a big one, and I would attribute, this is quite a simple thing, I would attribute quite a lot of the successes I've had to just like giving things a try, just speaking to people. I think a lot of people now, especially like with the internet and social media and everything, they hide a lot behind messages and emails and stuff, but I don't think you can go past picking up the phone to somebody and just talking to them or going and meeting them face to face. I think we've got over the last maybe 5 years far too lazy when it comes to network and meeting people and putting yourself out there. So I guess one door closes, another door opens. Always get outside your comfort zone and speak to people with your mouth rather than the keyboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And get to know your mum by the sounds of it, because she sounds like a very wise woman.
She is. She's a very smart lady, and she's the reason I got into fitness. From being 4, I used to go and sit in the corner of my mum's Keep Fit classes. She's been teaching now for 30 years.
Yeah.
So back in the days of the thong back leotard and the leg warmer, she was out there running her own classes and things, and just watched her. Now she's just smart. Like, she doesn't try and be anything other than common sense and down to earth, and I've learned an awful lot from her.
Well, one of the things we do on these podcasts, Mi365 Podcasts, when we're speaking to people, is finding out their story. And you find behind everyone's story, there's often a great person or great people, and you often find that success just leaves clues. There's no rocket science, but when you said that, it just reminded me of something I was reading the other day, where the author was saying, don't try things until you get them right. Try things until you can't get them wrong, because a lot of people will do something and I've got it right, and then they'll stop, rather than keep going till actually you become very, very good at what it is that you're doing. And, it's great to hear someone like you who does have aspirations. And I suppose I'd love to ask you, because none of these questions have been planned. I didn't tell you anything I wanted to talk to you about, but I'd be really curious, Katie, as to where you want to be in the next maybe 3 to 5 years. Do you ever give that any thought?
I used to give it a lot of thought. I used to write lists and, do the whole vision board thing and put it above me laptop in my office and things. And up until probably about a year ago, when I always had this list of loads of things I'd wanted to do and things I'd wanted to achieve, milestones and things, and I just left the list there, just kept ticking them off. And last year, I ticked the last thing on the list.
Wow.
Now, some people might think, oh, well, then you should write a new list. But I'm really enjoying at the minute just sort of going with the flow and seeing where life takes us a little bit, rather than being rigidly chasing this list all the time. That's not to say that I'll never write another list and I'll never write any big major goals again, because I'm sure I will. But at the minute, I'm just enjoying seeing what happens. And I told that to someone a little while ago, and they looked at us almost in disgust and said, well, but you've got a business, there should always be a plan, there should always be a strategy, there should always be a goal. You can't do this, you can't just sort of freestyle and see what happens. And I think there's no harm in that. There's no harm in just seeing what's round the corner and then deciding from the things that come along, what do you want to do, and just see where it takes you. Now, when I say I ticked everything off on that list, I'm a fairly straightforward person. I'm not like somebody who's saying, right, well, I want a Lamborghini and I want a gazillion yachts in Marbella. I'm not that sort of person. These were like little career goals. There was some small things to do with like home life and things. Like, this is as extravagant as I get. One was to buy a hot tub. Just silly little things, but they mean a lot to me. And I don't think anyone should ever be able to tell you that your dreams aren't big enough, or that you should always have a goal. So I know that kind of goes against the grain as to what what we're traditionally told in business, but that certainly worked for me, and I'm very happy as a result of it.
No, I think that's fantastic. You should never take advice of anybody. That's one of the things if people want to tell you things, they're often just telling you what they think they should do. And you're an entrepreneur. The word entrepreneur in its origin, I think, is a French word meaning risk taker. So you've taken risks. And I think another true test of any entrepreneurial person is your gut. And if your gut is saying, I don't need to set goals right now, I'm just happy just to enjoy my life. It's like with your little girl. You don't get her up in the morning and say, right, come on, let's set goals and let's do this and do that. You've got to have a certain amount of, I'm giving some advice now. You've got to have a certain amount of spontaneity and just enjoying life, rather than life always being something that's in the future. So I think those are really, really wise words. And I'm sure, one of the reasons we do this is that I know that there's going to be at least one person somewhere in the world that will listen to this, and they will take inspiration from hearing your story and everything that you've had to go through to get to the point where you are now. But look, I'd love to ask you just a couple more questions. Tell me about your philosophy around fitness. What's your own personal philosophy about fitness and health?
That it has to enhance your life, not dominate it. Mm-hmm. I think we're going through a little bit of a phase in our industry as a whole at the minute, where we've got this whole go hard or go home, fast and furious, eat clean, train dirty approach to fitness. For most people, for the general population, that sort of terminology and that sort of way of training and eating and stuff, it just won't work for them. It's not down to earth enough. For most people, they need to just be making one change at a time, small steps towards a big goal. 99% of people can't overhaul their life in 2 weeks and eat out of Tupperware 24/7.
Yeah.
Mine is very much enjoy fitness, find things that you actually like doing. Don't torture yourself if it's not enjoyable. And just sort of keep it real. I think that's a bit of sort of a cliche phrase to say, but keep it real, keep it down to earth, do what you love, and allow exercise and nutrition to make you happier, not to make you sad because you're not hitting goals and you're not eating this and you're not eating that and you focus too much on it. Just do things that make you feel good.
Well, my dyslexic brain when you said that went, eat dirty, train clean. When I think you actually said, what did you say? Train dirty, eat clean. Yeah, I mean, I think what's happening is that kind of way of train hard is it's appealing just to a minority of people. But the majority of people, like you, are interested and I'm interested in helping everyday people enjoy the great pleasures of being well and being healthy, because it's a treasure, but it's not always easy, right? It's not always easy to go from eating not particularly well to not moving to getting to the point. But what have you found what are some of your best success stories? Because again, when I've spent a bit of time with you, I just remember you, you're in constant contact with people that you're helping. What have been some of your biggest success stories?
Oh, well, there's one that springs to mind straight away, a client of mine. And this is a real good example of someone who's just kept doing small changes on a daily, weekly basis that have created a big result at the end. A lovely client of mine, she has just... somebody actually said to her, "What's happening to you? Is that weight just falling off you?"
Yeah.
And her reply was, I wish it was that easy. But she just has been really consistent, and she's probably down about 3 clothes sizes.
Wow.
over the last few months. But she hasn't become a fitness extremist, as I call them. She's just tried to make everyday little changes. So really, really pleased for her. That it's a recent one. Now, one that has probably had a bigger emotional impact on me is a lady I've been training probably for about 6 months now. And when she came to us, our goal wasn't to be a certain clothes size. It wasn't to drop a certain amount of weight. Her goal was, she travels a lot for work and she flies a lot, and she was having to ask for an extendable seatbelt on the plane.
Yeah.
And she said the feeling of like putting your hand up and having to ask for that is just like heartbreaking, and she felt really embarrassed about it. And then just 3 weeks ago, she went on holiday, didn't need the extendable seatbelt, got on the plane, had the same experience as everybody else, and she rang us from when she came back from the holidays, and both of us were in tears because it meant so much to her. And she doesn't want to be super slim, she just wants to be able to lead, I guess you would call it an average life, do the same things as everybody else is doing. Yeah. And it's just had such a big impact on us. So there's those lovely stories, and then because I do all the pre and postnatal stuff as well, things like when people come to us with a big abdominal separation and they're like, everything else is happened, I've got back in shape since I've had a baby and everything, but I just can't fix this and it's causing X, Y and Z problems. And then to be able to coach people with the right exercise selection so that they can reduce their abdominal separation, feel a lot better about themselves, reduce their back pain, all of the things that go with that. They're the other real big successes that I like.
Wow. So it sounds like you're just really passionate about helping people.
I think you struggle to find another job or another career that offers the same sort of job satisfaction as coaching people does.
Well, I know you're aware of some of the work that I do, and I'm constantly looking to find answers, and it is the simple things you find with the majority of people. And one of the things I'm pretty sure is that deep down there is a desire for everyone. Everyone's got a very similar purpose, which is to master themselves, to live life to the full, the best that they can, and to contribute, to make a difference in some way, shape or form. And if people don't know what that's like, they should try it. They should try helping more people and just seeing, but help themselves first, because that's the best way to change the world, right? If you're healthy and you're well and you're enjoying your life and getting pleasure from the simple things, then you don't necessarily want always more things to stimulate you and to make you happy on an artificial level. So I just really appreciate you, and I'm going to ask you just a couple more questions. The first question is, you've probably already answered it, but I'll ask it anyway. There's a Japanese word, it's called ikigai, because in Japan they don't have a word for retirement. Retirement was invented in, I think, 1888 in Germany, and the age was 65. People average life expectancy was 67. So in Japan they don't have a word for retirement. People don't retire. They have an ikigai, which is their reason for getting up every day and doing what they do. What's your ikigai? What is it that gets you up each and every day? Obviously, actually, I know one of the things you're going to say, but I'm not going to answer it for you. You've probably got a few ikigais. What gets you up every day?
Well, that I love what I do. From a career perspective, what is that I love what I do. I actually genuinely enjoy it. I love the people I work with. It doesn't feel like work. So that on the career side of things. And then the second thing is I've got a little girl called Heidi who's nearly 6, and I'm just determined to show her a good time. I want to show her everything from, nice experiences and making sure she's doing well at school, to showing her what hard work can achieve. And I'm always keen on teaching her the value of things. So if she gets to do something cool, I always tell her, Mum and Dad had to go and work really hard so that we could do this. And I just having her is just the biggest reason. And you get up every day is different, and teaching her things, and she's the best banter. She's so funny. So yeah, from a career perspective, it's just loving what I do, and from the other side, it's just all her.
And when you've had what advice would you give to people when they're having challenges in their life? I know obviously there are so many different types, but when you face obstacles, unforeseen circumstances, what's your approach for dealing with that sort of thing when it happens?
Go and have a good cry to me mum.
For all of us.
Yeah, everyone. She's great. She's got a shoulder for everyone to cry on. I think really it's trying to just not focus too much on the negative.
Yeah.
And find the positives. Sometimes something doesn't go your way, and it can end up consuming all of your thoughts, and you end up dwelling on this one thing that didn't go right and wasn't a positive. But then just look at all the other things that are in your life and all the other good opportunities that are really positive, and try and focus more on them, and just not let that negative thing become a massive dark cloud over your head.
Well, you know what? Another thing I absolutely love about you is you take personal development and you just simplify it, and that's exactly how it should be, because life's complicated enough as it is. You've obviously worked out some really key things. I think everyone needs your mum in their life. So if we could get your mum's... I was going to ask for your contact details, but forget that. What's your mum's email address? No, I'm only joking. Katie, thank you so much for joining us on Mi365 Podcasts. We really, really appreciate it. Tell us how people can find out more about you, and how can people contact you? And your mum.
And my mum. My mum's on Facebook as Christine Bulmer. She'll be loving that.
Okay.
But for me, it's www.katiebulmer.com, and that's for anything to do with fitness, business, etc. And then I have a new business launching next month, which is called the National Fitness Network, along with two of my good friends, Graham Hind and Neil Hutchinson. And that is very much for the industry. It's about giving something back to people that work in fitness and have a fitness business. So you can find us on Facebook just by searching the National Fitness Network.
Fantastic. And is there a website?
No, we are being bold, Pete, and we are going just on Facebook. We spoke with a lot of trainers who were like, oh, website, I haven't got time to go on a website. We're on social media all the time, so it's all social media.
Well, listen, let me know if you're looking for any additional help or support. Obviously, I became a fitness instructor in 1989, aerobics instructor in 1989 as well. It's been a big part of my life, and yeah, I think what you're doing is unbelievably fantastic. Everyone go and check out Katie's website. Follow her. Not literally follow her. That's not a good thing. Follow her on Facebook, and your website's great. You're great. And I look forward to catching up with you again sometime soon. Thank you so much, Katie. You're brilliant.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you want more free inspiration to optimize your life so you can achieve your goals in all the different areas of your life, then visit mi365.me. That's mi365.me and sign up to 365 days of free coaching with me, Pete Cohen. Thanks for listening and have an awesome day.